Welcome to Auto Future Garage. Today, we're talking about a car that didn't just break records, it redefined what power truly means. The first production car in history to produce 1 megawatt of power.
Koenigsegg likes to refer to its cars, both new and old, as Megacars. While it labels all of its models as such, it's generally accepted that a true Megacar produces more than 1,341 horsepower, the horsepower equivalent of 1 megawatt of power, which many of its earliest models fall short of, despite many of them being record holders. However, all the models in its current catalog do. Koenigsegg was the first automaker to offer a production car with 1 megawatt of power, after which it continued to produce cars with more horsepower. The first Megacar Koenigsegg produced was distinguished not only by its power output, but also by how that power matched its weight, a defining feature of the Koenigsegg One-to-One. But first, the Koenigsegg Agera. Before the Koenigsegg One-to-One, there was the Koenigsegg Agera. The Agera was a brand new offering from the Swedish Megacar manufacturer following the initial CC-based lineup that we saw throughout the 2000s. Based on a new platform and powered by an engine that wasn't a significantly modified unit until it was borrowed from Ford, the Agera further cemented the Koenigsegg brand at the forefront of automotive performance. Long-winded recaps aside, the Agera was an innovative offering from Koenigsegg, featuring in-house technology that eliminated turbocharger lag, a bespoke 7-speed transmission, and the now iconic Ghost lighting system. It was one of the greatest hypercars of the 2000s, serving as the basis for a handful of spin-off models, each distinguished by its performance. After the Koenigsegg Agera made its debut, the Koenigsegg Agera R and then the Koenigsegg Agera S were introduced. Both were more powerful than the model that came before, having greater aerodynamic efficiency. The first car to produce 1 megawatt of power. Koenigsegg likes to refer to its cars, both new and old, as Megacars. While it labels all of its models as such, it's generally accepted that a true Megacar produces more than 1,341 horsepower, the horsepower equivalent of 1 megawatt of power, which many of its earliest models fall short of, despite many of them being record holders. However, all the models in its current catalog do. Koenigsegg was the first automaker to offer a production car with 1 megawatt of power, after which it continued to produce cars with more horsepower. The first Megacar Koenigsegg produced was distinguished not only by its power output, but also by how that power matched its weight, a defining feature of the Koenigsegg One-to-One. But first, the Koenigsegg Agera 2011. Before the Koenigsegg One-to-One, there was the Koenigsegg Agera. The Agera was a brand new offering from the Swedish Megacar manufacturer following the initial CC-based lineup that we saw throughout the 2000s. Based on a new platform and powered by an engine that wasn't a significantly modified unit until it was borrowed from Ford, the Agera further cemented the Koenigsegg brand at the forefront of automotive performance. 2011. Koenigsegg Agera. Koenigsegg. Long-winded recaps aside, the Agera was an innovative offering from Koenigsegg, featuring in-house technology that eliminated turbocharger lag, a bespoke 7-speed transmission, and the now iconic Ghost lighting system. Koenigsegg Agera model. Year 2011. Koenigsegg Agera MSRP $1,500,000. Engine 5.0 liter. Twin-turbo V8. Gas drivetrain, rear-wheel drive, transmission, 7-speed, dual-clutch horsepower, N/A torque, 811 pounds-feet at 4,000 revolutions per minute, curb weight 3,164 pounds, expand. It was one of the greatest hypercars of the 2000s and 10s, serving as the basis for a handful of spin-off models, each distinguished by its performance. After the Koenigsegg Agera made its debut, the Koenigsegg Agera R and then the Koenigsegg Agera S were introduced. Both were more powerful than the model that came before, having greater aerodynamic efficiency. 2011 Koenigsegg Agera, Koenigsegg. In the case of the Agera S, it utilized flex fuel technology to allow it to be offered in more markets than the Agera R. By the time the Agera S production ended, a new offshoot of the Agera was introduced at the 2014 Geneva Motor Show that, unlike its predecessors, didn't command more power for the sake of more power, but instead commanded more power to complement its curb weight directly. That was the Koenigsegg One-to-One. Chasing an impossible power-to-weight ratio. Koenigsegg One-to-One. Engine 5.0-liter twin-turbocharged V8. Power 1,360 horsepower at 7,500 revolutions per minute. Torque 1,011 pound-feet at 6,000 revolutions per minute. 0 to 62 miles per hour. 2.5 to 2.7 seconds. Top speed 273 to 276 miles per hour. If, by the early 2000s, you hadn't heard of Koenigsegg or any of its Megacars, that likely changed with the debut of the Koenigsegg One-to-One. It is one of the most iconic models ever to wear the Ghost Squadron badge, and that was largely because of its unique power-to-weight ratio. In fact, it was the One-to-One's defining feature, from which even its name was inspired. The dream was to produce a car with a 1-to-1 power-to-weight ratio, which no production car had achieved before. At the time, achieving a 1-to-1 power-to-weight ratio seemed impossible for a street-legal car. As such, the Koenigsegg One-to-One was significantly different from its sibling, the Koenigsegg Agera R. Koenigsegg's changes altered three key aspects: power, weight, and aerodynamic efficiency. Koenigsegg, One-to-One model year. One-to-One, MSRP $2,850,000, engine 5.0-liter, twin-turbo V, 8-gas drivetrain, rear-wheel drive transmission, 7-speed dual-clutch, horsepower 1,341 horsepower, torque 1,010 pounds-feet at 6,000 revolutions per minute. At the core of the Koenigsegg One-to-One was the same 5.0-liter twin, turbocharged V8 engine used by the Koenigsegg Agera R, kind of. The V8 engine used in the One-to-One had a significantly higher power output when running on E85, due to changes such as slightly higher boost pressure, a revised bore, and the addition of a flex fuel system, which had not been present in another Koenigsegg road car since the Koenigsegg CCXR. While power was increased, its weight was decreased significantly in proportion to match its output. The Agera R weighed 3,160 pounds, 1,435 kilograms. But thanks to the addition of several pieces of carbon fiber, the Swedish automaker reduced the curb weight to 2,998 pounds, 1,360 kilograms. Another distinguishing aspect of the Koenigsegg One-to-One was its aerodynamic package, which included a handful of winglets, longer venturi tunnels, an active rear wing, and new side air intakes. Aided by an improved suspension system and wearing new Aircore carbon fiber wheels, the Koenigsegg One-to-One was far more capable on a racetrack than its siblings. Only 7 examples of the Koenigsegg One-to-One were produced, and today it's remembered as one of the most powerful Koenigsegg models based on the Koenigsegg Agera. The significance of the Koenigsegg One-to-One's power-to-weight ratio can't be overstated. No other road-going production car has achieved the same power-to-weight ratio as the One-to-One. Some of the most powerful road-legal production cars, like the SSC Tuatara, Hennessy Venom F5, and one of Koenigsegg's most recent creations, the Koenigsegg Agera, fall short of a 1-to-1 power-to-weight ratio. It wasn't the most powerful Agera-based Koenigsegg. The Koenigsegg One-to-One was a significant step up over the Agera R, which it outclassed in nearly every metric, from power output to performance. The unique balance of its power output and curb weight allowed the Koenigsegg One-to-One to sprint from a standstill to 62 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds, whereas the Agera R needs 2.8 seconds for the same sprint. It was also capable of sprinting from one end of a quarter-mile drag strip to the other in less than 10 seconds, and reportedly reached a top speed of 273 miles per hour. Interestingly, while the Agera R was not as powerful as the 1-to-1, it had nearly the same power-to-weight ratio, though that was in its lightest configuration. Aside from the Agera R, the 1-to-1 debuted as the most powerful version of any Koenigsegg based on the Agera platform at the time. However, while it was the most powerful variation of the Agera when it debuted, this title wouldn't be uncontested. In fact, it would be tied with two of the last Koenigsegg Ageras, the Koenigsegg Agera RS and the Koenigsegg Agera Final Edition. The RS variant debuted shortly after the 1-to-1 at the 2015 Geneva Motor Show. It was lauded as the ultimate expression of the Agera platform, leveraging the many innovations gained throughout Agera development. In its base form, the Koenigsegg Agera RS was a mighty weapon capable of dominating on public roads and on racetracks, which would be turned into the world's fastest art car years after its debut. But still, in its base form, it wasn't as powerful as the 1-to-1. Customers would need to opt for the MW upgrade package that coaxed its power output to be on par with the 1-to-1. Still, it wouldn't have the same presence on the scale as the 1-to-1, with the RS being slightly heavier. As for the Koenigsegg Agera Final Edition, it used the same engine configuration as the Koenigsegg 1-to-1, delivering the same power output and being the last of Koenigsegg's Agera models to wear the Koenigsegg badge. There were several unique offshoots of the Koenigsegg Agera, but none commanded more power than the Koenigsegg 1-to-1, and none had the same power-to-weight ratio. This was the story of the first car to produce 1 megawatt of power, the legendary Koenigsegg 1-to-1. If you enjoyed this video, like it, share it with fellow car enthusiasts, and subscribe to Auto Future Garage for more stories about the future of performance. Auto Future Garage, where the future of cars begins.